And this week we are on Ashland Avenue in front of La Pasadita, often imitated, never duplicated. It's been here since 1976. And this magic is coming to you through Boost Mobile. I am on my phone right now. We're about to do Facebook Live with the actors who play Tony and Tina in Tony and Tina's Wedding. And my Samsung Galaxy S8 is fired up, ready to go. I would be lost without Boost Mobile. The service is exceptional, and it is reliable. I've got unlimited data, text, and calls. I'm good to go. Go to boostmobile.com and get yourself set up. All right, actors who play Tony and Tina, are you ready to go?
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
All right, let's do this.
It's car con carne. Let's eat in the car. It's car con carne. And now here's the star of our show, James Van Alstyne.
3, 2, 1. Here we go. We're looking right there.
Yeah.
There we are. Okay, so hi, Facebook Live.
Hey.
This over here is Rory.
Rory Zacher, yes, hello.
And in the back seat is Concetta.
Hi.
And I had to explain that I put Concetta in the back seat. I was trying to be, I like to be chivalrous
For safety
and
reasons.
offer, that's right, for your own security. I like to be kind and offer the lady the front seat, but there's just not enough
And
room.
here you did, so we're all
It's
good.
very nice, I mean,
But the person with the greater altitude
I have longer
ends
legs,
up
yes,
sitting
yes,
shotgun.
yes.
So you're Rory and Concetta, but really you're Tony and Tina,
That's right.
yes.
the titular characters. We're all 13. That's always funny to say titular.
It was funny. It made me laugh. Yes.
Ready for our show.
The titular characters.
That's pretty appropriate considering what goes on in our show, so there you go.
That's true. That's actually
Tony and Tina's wedding.
Foreshadowing.
Yes, Tony and Tina's wedding.
All right, so let's talk about that. The show is, I need to look at the address here. Chicago Theater Works, 1113 West Belmont.
Yes.
What?
The long-running, much-beloved Tony and Tina's wedding. I half wondered if you were going to show up dressed like bride and groom today.
We wondered that ourselves, but then when we discovered we were going to go to La Pasadita,
Which was your call.
it was my
You
call,
picked this
and I
place.
think I picked it because I didn't want to wear the white tux. Because wearing white wedding dress and wearing a white tux just leads to a lot of problems with eating burritos in a car.
Yeah, it's also
Right.
really tight.
Yeah.
Like we can't
Yeah, she's got to let it rip. So you know, I mean,
you know what I
like,
mean?
eat
Gotta
the
be
food. You
comfortable.
can't be corseted in.
Right.
So yeah,
I wish, this is something I've had problems with. Women have such great advantages over we men.
go on.
Well, the whole Spanx thing. Like
Right.
there are times when my tummy just needs to be bound a little bit tighter, and I just need to.
Get yourself a pair of Spanx.
They have man Spanx now.
Yes, of course they do.
don't they have girdles
Why
for
wouldn't
dudes or
they?
something, or the?
Yeah, they have all the things that you, if you want to feel like an encased sausage,
Yeah.
you got it.
I kind of do. There are times when I find this is a recent thing, but all my shirts have shrunk, and I think it might be, it's something to do with the dryer.
Right? That could be.
It's definitely the
If
laundry.
your dryer's running hotter
Yeah.
than
Thank you,
normal.
Rory. It's definitely the dryer.
It is. It could be nothing else except for that darn dryer. The lint is just shrinking everything.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
But beyond the man Spanx and the need for them, the idea of carrying a purse. Now, I'm not saying we as men should carry purses, but it becomes difficult when I want to. If my pockets just get to be overflowing with cell phone and wallet, keys. It'd be great to have.
Don't you ever let those stereotypes of the world
Yeah.
stop you from
wanna
being
carry a
who
purse,
you
James,
want to be.
Carry a purse.
Thank you, Concetta. I'm going to be who I'm going to be. God damn it!
You want to carry?
That's right.
You want to
You
carry
be
a man
proud.
bag? You do that.
All right, there. I want to get the focus.
Yeah, get on her.
Concetta was kind of hidden back
Yeah.
there. All right, let's talk about Tony and Tina's.
Okay.
Rory,
Excuse me.
you have not always been Tony.
No, I got involved in the show way back when it reopened about last September, and I was originally playing one of the groomsmen named Dominic Fabrizi, and I'm kind of like the lunk / sleazebag with the heart of gold, and I was Tony's understudy. So in about April, the actor who played Tony left, and
Sorry.
and no, not and then I took over the role. So I've been playing Tony since about end of April, beginning of May, I believe. So but I've been with the show the entire time since it came back to Chicago last year.
Now, true to Chicago theater, the change in role comes with a massive salary increase.
I am lighting cigars with 50s, and my diamond shoes are very tight right now. Let me
bet
just
they
let
are.
me just say that. So, yes.
And Concetta, you are not a Chicagoan.
I am not.
You are a recent arrival to Chicago, specifically to play Tina.
That's right. I'm from New York.
No.
Born and raised. I don't know if you guys can tell. But and I've been doing the show for about 12 years now.
You do have that kind of don't give me any shit attitude.
Thank you. So don't, But no, I was doing the show for about 12 years, and I was on the national tour, and our director and a couple of the producers from the Chicago cast came to see the show there, and then they kind of were hinting around, looking to see what my schedule was like, and then I was here a month later, and I've been here since.
That's really quick.
Yeah,
to uproot and relocate.
Yeah. Well, the show. This is like any other. I'm sorry, it's like no other experience you will ever have in your life. It's so fun, which is the reason why I've been doing it for so long, and it's never the same twice.
That's what I wanted to talk about. You need to be skilled at thinking on your feet. You need to improv.
Yeah.
For a lot of the night.
Oh yeah. We have a plot line, which is
like
pretty
skeleton,
thorough.
like a skeleton
But
outline.
yes, exactly. It is that. It is our base, and then we dance all around that and kind of come up with the ways to get to those points.
It's like acting jazz.
Yeah,
it is. And we're just scatting the whole night long.
You made us really classy. I gotta be honest.
We are. Yeah.
You really upped us.
You really dressed up like pig. But it's great because the more the audience gets involved, the more crazy and fun it gets. Like, we've had other audience members come up to us after a show and say, that one guy, is he part of your show? We're like, no, he paid a ticket just like you. So, like, you can sit back and just kind of be a wallflower and have a great time.
I was going to ask that, too, because I'm sure a lot of people are,
Yes.
not a lot of people, but I'm sure there are people who are a little uncomfortable with the immersion aspect of the performance.
There's some people who don't want to get up and dance, or they have to really be dragged, or they're just, nervous. But, the people who really, and that's fine. You can come to our show and have a great time doing that. But, again, if you participate, if you're at a wedding, this is what you do. And then those people walk out and go, oh my God, this is like my family. We had the best time. We're going to bring our friends. I got to bring my mom and my dad. They're Italian. They're Puerto Rican. They're Greek. They're going to love this.
That's
this
the thing.
If
you can relate to family dysfunction, you can relate to this show.
So really, anyone
pretty much.
That's exactly
relate,
right. We just happen to be Italians.
And you do the chicken dance.
Of course.
Of course we do. We do the chicken dance.
Of
We
course.
do the YMCA. We do a dollar dance. Tina and her bridesmaids do a choreographed. I can say it. Choreographed dance. Pretty much anything you can do at a cheesy wedding. We do a little hora. We do a little tarantella. Anything you do at a wedding.
You're just making up dances now?
We do a rumba. We do a foxtrot. We do a bazinga.
We do the polka.
Yeah, we do the polka. We do a beer barrel polka.
Nice.
So any cheesy wedding thing have you ever done at a cheesy wedding? We do.
Except the Macarena. That's
We don't do the Macarena.
That's just.
We are on Facebook Live right now. Pat Gleason says, "Hey all, Tony and Tina, how you doing?"
Good. How you doing?
There
I'm
it is.
doing pretty good. I wish the Cubs would have won today, but other than that, I'm doing okay.
Oh, it's a sensitive subject.
I know.
Johnny.
That's all right.
Well, okay. So, Concetta, you're not a native Chicagoan.
I am not.
Do you have a dog in this race?
What do you
Cubs,
mean?
Sox, North
Oh,
Side.
Cubs. Absolutely.
I've trained her well.
But mostly because I've been told that's what I'm supposed to
And
say.
also, our show's on the north side, so I mean.
No, that's true.
it's-
We are right by Wrigleyville.
Yeah,
over
we're
there,
a
so.
block and a half from Wrigley, and right near the red line.
In honor of those boys in blue.
That's right. That's right.
Which can also be a way to describe cops, just so
True.
we're clear. So, as fiancés, bride and groom, how close are you in real life? I know you portray a couple on stage, but does that closeness you seem to have a very familial...
I hate him.
He's
the worst kind of person.
She is just a very unpleasant person. She's very bossy. She's brassy.
There's no acting required for me.
No, we're friends. I mean, it's great that we're friends. I mean, we're friends, and we hang out with a couple of the other people in the show a lot, and it's really nice. It really just, and she's as a performer, she's fun to play off of, and I hope she feels the same way. But we just have a good rapport because it's just like that. You can't manufacture chemistry. We just get along, and she's a good person, and I think it translates in the show, and we have a lot of fun. So
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the silly. If you can look into someone's eyes and they're ready to play, and you just know that you can do a trust fall at any point, and they got you. That's the goal, you know. And we found that pretty early on, and we're still developing it, of course, because we're both fairly new. But he makes it easy. And
you have to have that feeling that the other person has your back.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know she has a great time performing, and it makes it so much fun because then it's just like everybody responds off her energy and my energy, and then it just gets the party going. Because Tony and Tina, you want to party with them, you want to love them, you want to be friends with them, and I hope that we convey that every show because we're definitely working our butts off to do that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So with the level of improv you have to do and kind of making it up as you go with that skeleton, do you think about your characters when you're not performing? Do you think about how to enhance their personality or lines they would say the next time?
Well, the thing with this show is that the rehearsal process is really unlike anything, in that you don't have a script that you follow and you say your lines, you memorize your lines, you memorize your blocking, you go home, you think about character development, and you come back ready to go. Because our rehearsal we can't really perform without an audience. They're the other character in our play.
Good point.
And so you can't rehearse anything, and since the majority of it is for and with them, it's really hard to think. I mean, you think about the stuff on the spot, and then you go like, shit, I can do this better later. If that ever comes up again, I got something ready for that.
This is not acting for the timid.
No, definitely not. You
Yeah,
have to
this
be
is high wire
fearless.
stuff.
You just gotta go for it.
You can't be afraid to, you know, if something doesn't land, you just move on. You keep going. We're like our show's like a shark. It just has to keep moving. And but there are times, like for example, and it's funny when you said like you think of things like I was. For my day job, I was on a business trip in Philadelphia, and like I'm driving on the highway. All of a sudden, I came up with like a great little speech for Tony. And I pulled over, and I put it in my phone notes, and I use it now in the show. And it's just kind of, I just was like, man, this would really work. And sure enough, that's
cool.
It's the part it's a little line, like during my toast, and I just came up with it. So, and now it's part of the show. So it's kind of just fun to like when you have those ideas, but a lot of time it's fly by the seat of your pants and just kind of react.
All right, so we're going to pick up the conversation on the podcast. This whole thing will be part of the audio podcast, which is on Car Con Carne. What did you just do? That was cool.
Cross my eyes.
I can't do that.
I used to only be able to cross one. Am I doing it?
That's
kind of
how you normally look.
That's cool. You've never looked hotter.
You can count the chickens in the backyard.
Thank you
sit in
very
the front.
much.
So the full podcast with these two will be on carconcarne.com Monday. A week from today. But thank you for watching on Facebook Live. Share it with a friend. But before we go away, and thank you Boost Mobile for providing the ability to stream this, let's show what we're eating.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Let's do some visual aids here.
Since mine's already open, I have a carne asada burrito from La Pasadita with onion, cilantro, and rice. And let me tell you, I eat here about 2-3 times a week. It's
and
really good.
Do you have salsa back there, Concetta?
I do. I have 2 of them.
Yeah, they gave a lot of salsa. They're not messing around here. All right, so you have the...
I had the chicken burrito, and it is...
You mean the pollo?
Yeah, sorry, the pollo. And it is dope. It is so good.
And I got carne asada tacos. I love the traditional taco, the double corn tortilla, the cilantro and onion. So, here we go.
Yeah, we don't mess around with Mexican food at La Pasadita.
Yummy.
See you, Pat Gleason. All right, and thank you for watching Facebook Live.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
There we are. All right, so let's go back to you guys.
Okay.
Well, first, I want to try our food.
Okay.
You've already tried yours, Rory.
Yes. Oh, and I just tried it on my jeans.
I knew that was going to happen.
Yep.
I called that one.
Just opening up the sauce. That's fine.
What was the first thing I said? We're eating in a car. The burrito. Oh, you really did nail yourself.
Yeah, I did. That's okay.
Do you need more?
I bet your knees are delicious.
They are very
You can
spicy,
use...
though.
Here, I'll move my phone. You can use the console up there.
Oh, man.
I'm going to use that as a pickup line.
Yeah. Your knees look delicious. Wow.
How are you doing it? Are you doing it
Have
like
you
a
been
dip?
drinking,
Are you
Rory?
using it
What's
like
going-
No, these are very filled salsa
They are.
tankards. That's all right. I got laundry.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, how
Well, this is good.
awesome. Oh, don't spill.
Are you willing yourself to keep clean back there?
I sure am.
Mm-hmm.
So far.
I hear that.
Yeah, these are good. I'm gonna tell you,
Oh, this is
I'm a
packed.
burrito snob.
This taco is totally packed. Well, you spent time in California.
I lived in LA for about almost 10 years, and after living there, you get picky about Mexican food. and this place holds up. So, and I was an actor out in L.A. Struggling actor, and I did some stuff.
Some tasteful porn, right?
Well, funny. I was on the show Punk'd on MTV, and a failed pilot that was called Good Sex. That it was kind of like an improv show, kind of like Arrested Development, but it's centered around a sex therapy clinic.
Okay.
And a lot of people from Mad TV were in there. It didn't make it, and then I actually got involved in. I worked at a talent agency, and then I got involved through my girlfriend then and still current fiance, Kelly LeBlanco, as an agent for adult films, and then I started becoming a director of adult films. So my career in LA snowballed in a lot of different directions.
I was making a dumb joke.
No, you heard that right.
Mm-hmm. I'm not kidding.
This kid has lived.
Well, let's go completely off the rails here. What's the casting process like?
Yeah.
Well, when I was an agent, we would have like a website, with all the female and male talent, and you have like age stats, or given age, but what they'll do, what they don't do. And then when I was a director, we had an office. We were in a normal office complex.
Right, of course.
I worked for a company called pinkvisual.com, and they're still available. Well, that guy's peeing outside.
Yeah, yes. Oh, he's got
and we filmed for like 10 or 12 different websites, and the agents would bring in the female talent. We would call them go-sees, and they would come in and like parade around.
Wait, what would you call them?
Go-sees. They'd go see the directors,
okay.
And they would be wearing their their little sluttiest outfits and their highest of heels, and they'd come by, and we would what's your name? What do you do? What do you not feel comfortable doing? We take some photos. They take off their clothes. We take photos. And then if they could fit the profile of one of our sites, we would book them. And a lot of the times it was either very new talent to the business or talent that has been around too long and is not really working that long. So, or not really working that much anymore. So, but go-see days were very funny because it was always like, just like a parade of like, women in porn, just like, and we'd be like, all right, well, what are you going to do?
Those must have been your
not like that, but
favorite
like,
days.
what do you
Like,
feel
let's be
comfortable?
real.
I would be IMing my friends. I'd be like, all right, I got to go. There's another like 6 girls here for go-sees. We got to go take naked photos of them. So it was a lot of fun.
And you moved.
I did. I actually, the economy back in like 2008 when it took the dump that it did, people started, when was the last time you paid for a porn DVD or a subscription? Everything became free on the computer, and people weren't buying stuff anymore or subscribing to websites, so the industry took a dive. And
that makes sense.
Last one hired, first one fired. I went back to being an agent, and my heart wasn't in it anymore. And then I went back to being a server in a restaurant, and then I moved back to Chicago and worked in restaurants and kind of just, progressed and auditioned, and luckily I got this show, which is a lot of fun.
Rory, you're the most fascinating man I've ever met.
Well,
Right?
I'm nothing without Kelly LeBlanco because she got me the job. She's
Woo!
and still one of the best makeup artists of all time.
She's incredible as a human.
I'm also used to dealing with strong, brassy Italian women because I'm getting married to one in September. So dealing with Concetta is a picnic. But I'm used to feisty Italians. I love them. That's what Tony likes. That's what Rory likes. So.
And Concetta, how's adjusting to Chicago? Is it overwhelming moving to a city like this, which has its own quirks and idiosyncrasies?
I hate to say no, but no. New York is a really hard place, and so for as long as I've been on this tour, every city we've gone to, I've been like excited about, but I don't know. Nothing's really like New York, I kind of always compare it. I'm a snob that way. But Chicago, light years different in customer service. I cannot tell you how many people, I'm so not used to talking to people on the phone. I'm used to being on hold for an hour and a half and then getting someone to be like, no, sorry, wrong department, or we can't help you, or you'll have to call back at another time, or like just getting nowhere basically. I'm not used to customer service. And here, people look in the eyes, they say hello, you find out about their kids right away.
Yeah.
It's like, what's happening? So that part's been great.
I'm convinced customer service is a dying art.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not. Yeah, it's better than New York, but
you don't have to talk to people anymore.
Right.
We've made it
you
really
don't.
easy to like completely be alone.
yeah.
One thing I meant to ask you about during the Facebook Live we just did, you talked about people getting in on it, being part of the show, being asked after the show if that person was actually part of the cast. Are there ever, there have to be times when there are over actors or over enthusiastic attendees that you need to kind of get to settle down? Like, how do you handle someone who is a little too into it?
I have a great story, actually. It's not a great story because
I'll let
it's
you.
sad,
Yeah, I was
but-
gonna figure you would open with that one.
But no, I'm not even gonna open with the one you think I'm gonna open with.
Okay.
But so I was in Milwaukee, Wisconsin once. This was about maybe 4 years ago, and there's a character in the show named Michael Just, and he is Tina's ex-boyfriend. He crashes the wedding, and he's just out of rehab. So needless to say, Michael brings chaos with him. And there's a moment in the show. It's very well choreographed for all the guys, so they're never gonna get hurt. But there's a moment where Michael just steals a bottle of vodka away from Tony, and Tony proceeds to chase him around the room. Well, they were doing this thing that we call the vodka run. This kid comes around the corner, Michael Just, and a man, one of the cast members screamed, "Stop him! Stop him!" in the show, like about the character. You know, they were
Right.
just acting.
Oh, no.
And a man stuck out his forearm
No.
and clotheslined the kid.
No.
The kid flipped over and landed on the top of his neck.
No.
I don't know how he wasn't immediately paralyzed, but needless to
my
say, he
God.
just got up and walked it off. But the guy was so serious. Turns out he was an ex-cop, and he thought,
Oh, my
he had been
God.
drinking, and he got really into the show and thought there was really somebody who needed to be stopped, and he just laid him
God.
out.
That's amazing.
And after that,
And I guess that doesn't surprise me.
No.
'Cause
After
it
that,
is
we
an
had to have
immersive experience.
security.
I've
Yeah,
never heard
because
that,
they were
yeah.
like people. But I've seen so many times where people get so into it that they forget that we're people and we're actors. It really comes in like just on Saturday night we had a table of. No offense to the older men community, but a table of older men get a little tipsy, and there's a lot of beautiful girls in our show, and they just found it totally within their right to fondle them and grab them inappropriately and things like that. So stuff like that,
And we will.
we are a family. So if
Yeah.
anybody's in trouble, I know everyone should feel comfortable to turn to their partner, to turn to somebody next to them and say, "Hey, I'm in trouble."
Right.
So there is a security blanket, but it does happen. I mean, people get really caught up in the action of it all.
And we also, from a guy, being one of the male characters,
Well,
We
you've
got-
gotten fondled, haven't you?
I've gotten fondled many times. And as a guy, you're more likely to be like, "Oh, that's kind of cool." But like back when I played Dominic, because I was very lecherous, but and I would hit on everybody, even though my girlfriend in the show is there as one of the bridesmaids. But one of my first few months doing the show, some older woman comes up to me, not like old, but older than me, and she just is like, I'm from Indiana, and I guess she was with her daughter and some people. It was like a girls' night out, and they had like a limo. She comes up to me, she's like, "I want to take you home and have you wind up in my bed the next morning." And the daughter was like, "Mom," and she's just was like all over me. And you have to find like a very nice way to say thank you, but no thank you. But I mean, these people, our show has a bar, so there is drinking going on,
Right.
And sometimes
That's the
people,
best case scenario, though. We
Yeah.
encourage drinking.
yeah. So I mean, so people can get a little crazy. We've had couples get into drunken fights in the bathroom, and
Oh, my
Oh
God.
yeah.
we had a woman throw up, I think.
I've seen so many people.
That doesn't surprise
not
me at
make
all.
it.
Yeah.
So many people don't make it to the end of the night.
And it's amazing, like how people just like let themselves go. I mean, and they just because people, will be like pre-partying a lot, especially if it's like a 8 o'clock show. And
also encouraged.
also encouraged. But yeah, we have some rowdy couples that rent a limo for the night, and they're just like ready to party. So it's it's part of interactive theater.
It's a party show.
Do people need to come dressed for a wedding?
It's really dress as you want, but I always say dress to impress, and we'll make fun of you if you don't.
I mean, it doesn't take place in the 80s, but it's kind of like a little bit more like an 80s theme, but you can wear whatever you want. We've had people wear tuxedos and suits. We've had people wear shorts and flip-flops. And if you wear shorts and flip-flops, we're going to bust your balls a little bit.
Most
Well, yeah.
definitely.
I definitely, as Tony, hey, thanks for coming to my wedding. I appreciate
for
you dressing
dressing
up. Tina's going to love it. So, yeah. People send us cards. We get gifts.
Yeah, gifts. Send us gifts.
Send us
Bring
gifts. We're registered.
You're not registered.
No, we actually did a registry
We can
at
be,
Bloomingdale's,
if you want.
but we did a promo event where we took photos at Bloomingdale's, like registering for gifts
That's
in our
amazing.
costumes. Yeah,
Also arranged by Kelly LeBlanca.
also arranged by Kelly LeBlanco. Yes,
One of my least favorite parts of the whole pre-marriage thing was registering.
Why?
Like going through linens
I just did
and
that.
flatware.
yeah.
Oh.
Fucking hated it.
I was okay because I had the gun, but like because it's on you're like playing like laser tag, but like
here's a question though. So when you were registering for everything, like to furnish your house.
Yeah.
Basically.
you're registering for
now
like.
You already have a house with your and fiance.
But I need new stuff.
Also,
Apparently,
new stuff.
I was told I need new stuff. I mean, you're not registering for like furniture. But I did register for a $1,500 jukebox, but nobody got that.
Yeah, you did.
But you know, glassware, towels, linens, you know, all the stuff that you use once. You know, the one thing we didn't register for was China because we're not like we're not the you know Downton Abbey. So, but
The only thing I think I still use for my registry is the bagel biter. It's like a little bagel guillotine. You put the bagel in and slices the bagel perfectly.
that's
like the only
my
thing.
mom and dad had that. I love the bagel guillotine, but you know, you get the waffle maker. You get excited. You make waffles like 4 times in your life. And then
That's
you
so
get the
true.
ice cream maker. You're like,
Insane.
you make or like the deep fryer. You know, all that stuff that people think it's fun, and then after a while, you're like, all right, I'm good.
Yeah.
But like the cheese tray and the glasses and the wine glasses and all
What's
that
the
stuff.
most stressful part about wedding planning, you guys?
I had a really small wedding. I'm probably the wrong person to ask.
Paying for it.
Yeah.
No.
The money, the bills.
You know what I was very stressed about, and I still is like you always think, did I forget to invite somebody, or like did I leave off somebody like important, and I think we're good, but like it's just but the thing about a wedding, planning a wedding, and we're not having like a huge wedding, but we're having like a fun party, is that like, you know, again, everybody has an opinion about something, and it's just like, and at the end it's just gonna be like you always second guess yourself, so it's just like I'm like, Kelly, what do you want to do? Or it's like, what do we want to do?
Exactly.
And let's do that. So, but it's a lot of fun. But
Are you going to sell tickets?
I would like to, but I'm actually going to wear my Tony and Tina tuxedo.
Perfect.
Disgusting. That is so
It could
gross.
walk into the room by itself.
Oh, God.
It's very
Yeah, how
hot in
often
the
does that
summer in
get-
our shows.
How often does that get cleaned?
It gets cleaned like every week. It gets washed and dry cleaned, but like in the summer, because we do our show, it starts at a church.
Right.
And then we walk over to the reception hall. So that church is not air conditioned. And in the summer, it's hot. And me and Concetta are literally busting our asses the entire show. And we're sweating. We're dancing.
Yeah.
We're up there.
Yeah.
So me and her, we always joke. It's like, instead of it's coming to my wedding, it's coming to my sweating.
Oh, God, yeah.
The two show days are tough
Do
when
you
you
know
have
what
to...
cold sweat feels like?
When you have to do that, the second show, and you're just like, oh...
I hate myself.
Yeah, she puts my jacket on at the end when we like walk out, and she's always just like, ugh.
It's so disgusting. It's so nasty.
Yeah, you have to have a level of comfort with one another.
Yeah.
Yeah,
get over it really
we
fast.
joke about it a lot because it's like at the end of the show, it looks like she went through a car wash. I mean, it's pretty funny. But
I'm working hard.
I'd rather you be sweating because you're working hard than you don't care. So
That's right.
yeah.
What's the best part of Tony and Tina's wedding for each of you individually?
Concetta?
Because there's such a cachet. There's such a thing associated with the name, the idea of Tony and Tina's wedding. It's something special. Everyone kind of understands what it is. What does it do for you?
Oh, well, honestly, the biggest thing Tony and Tina has done for me is giving me some of the best friends I've ever had in my whole life. I really have been doing this show a long time, and so the first friends I made doing the show are still my best friends. I met not several. I remove that. I retract that immediately. A few boyfriends. But some real, I mean, and every time we always say that Tony and Tina is a family, but it truly is. People leave and come back all the time and support us throughout the years because, you know, it's a team. You know, once you're a part of it, it's like you're kind of a lifer, you know.
And people, you know, from the original production when we first opened, came back to do the show, and they were older, so they aged into certain roles.
That's
Yeah.
perfect.
Which was like one actress in our show, Marcy Manicotti, who is extremely talented. She played Tina's mom in the original production, and she came back when we opened last year as grandma.
That's
so
amazing.
It's so cool that they had such a great experience and have still wanted to do it. For me, I think the best part about Tony and Tina's is one that I'm a, you know, it makes. I mean, I'm a. You can say you're a professional actor because you're getting paid to do a job, and I think that's really cool. Also, I really enjoy, you know, the family aspect. I like that it's, you know, every weekend I look forward to doing my show. And I also love when people walk out like so happy and they want to take photos with Tony and Tina, and they had such a great time that they want to come back, and that that for 2.5 hours and there's a lot of, and not to be preachy, but there's a lot of crap going on in the world right now. But for 2.5 hours, people had a great time and they didn't have to think about anything except we're having a great time, and that me and Concetta and the rest of the cast helped do that. And I think that's a really cool feeling.
And speaking of taking pictures with Tony and Tina, I got to remember to do that before you leave.
Okay.
I always forget to take pictures with my guests, and that's kind of important
Now
for
that
the
I have
podcast.
salsa on my knee and
Oh, yeah.
I know, I
rice
have
in my
cilantro
pocket.
in
Yeah.
every crevice
Yeah.
of every tooth.
Yeah.
It's a good look. We started talking about this as we were waiting for our food inside La Pasadita, which is Spanish for the Pasadita.
Yes.
Right.
First concert. Rory, you said your first concert was a total hair metal fest.
Yes, I was a child of the '80s. I was born in 19, and my father. I remember we got tickets to see Poison and Warrant
Yeah,
at
you
the
did.
Rosemont Horizon on the Flesh and Blood tour, and
When you think about it, those two bands playing the Horizon seems unthinkable in the modern day. But there was a time where they could fill that space.
I just saw Poison at now it's
Opening for Def Leppard.
at Hollywood Music. I still call it World Music Theater, but whatever. And they filled it. But anyway, I remember me and my dad went, and he's gonna laugh if he hears this. He went to Musicland and bought us these like black hats with the green felt that said Poison and Warrant. So we had matching hats.
Yes.
I was 12 or 13. I was a dork, and I will always remember this. And my mom and dad will never let me forget this. I'm at the show with my dad, and my dad's dancing on the chair, and I'm like, Dad, get down, you're embarrassing me. And I remember I said to my dad, because
That's like fuel to the fire if you say that to a dad.
well, this is before the internet was not around, so I didn't, you didn't have all this stuff, but like I just would have like MTV, and like I remember watching all the scantily clad women, and I turned to my dad. I was 12 or 13. And I go, how do their mothers let them leave the house dressed like that? And my mom to this day just gives me shit about saying that, and it was just such an honest comment, and it was a great show. I mean, I've seen some great bands, but you always remember your first. So,
Concetta, I know you are not a hair metal.
Oh, no, you're gonna ask me?
Of course.
It's borderline embarrassing.
No,
I mean, and by
I'd love
borderline,
to know your first concert.
it's gonna be like, of course it was. So I kind of grew up in a pretty strict old school household. My parents were both Italian Catholics, and they raised us like that. And so I wasn't allowed to watch a lot of TV. I didn't see my first concert until I was well into high school. So for me,
Which isn't unusual.
I mean, it was a
For a
big
female,
deal
it's
though.
different,
It was a big deal because there was no chaperone. It was like 6 girls and
No
like
cell
whatever.
phones?
No,
Yeah.
back in the no cell phones.
Yeah.
And so it was an NSYNC concert.
All right.
Okay.
That's
All
not,
right.
I mean, that's
not
I kind of would have
terrible.
expected that. Yeah.
That's not terrible. I mean, I was expecting something really bad.
Damn it.
I was expecting something terrible.
No, but we had a friggin' blast. It was awesome. Justin Timberlake flew right over our heads. It was fantastic.
I have seen Color Me Bad. I will say I've seen.
Oh!
My parents for Thanksgiving one year, they surprised us with a weekend downtown. We stayed at a hotel, and my mom and dad were like, "We got tickets to see Paula Abdul for the family," and Color Me Bad opened. And if you want to have a
damn
fun
it.
experience, sit next to your mom and your dad when they're singing "I Want to Sex You Up."
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. That's an experience right there. So
Yeah, that's fantastic.
it was great though. It was great. I mean, it's an experience,
Oh, I love it.
So that was fun.
All right. So Tony and Tina's wedding, the show times or the days of the week, people can go see you.
TonyLovesTina.com.
Yeah, just go to the website.
The website has all the show. Our show is predominantly on weekends. Summer shows, there's usually 1 or 2 a weekend. But yeah, you can get all your info and tickets at TonyLovesTina.com. Also, if you enter the code FAMILY20, you can get 20% off your ticket. And it does include dinner, so you
That's
get
awesome.
some food,
And a little champagne, too.
a little
I
booze.
mean, it's a value at any
cake.
price, really,
Yeah.
but
Oh, yeah.
the 20% is pretty sweet.
Cheaper than Hamilton.
Yes, it is.
And easier to get into. Yeah.
All right, awesome. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much
You're
for
awesome.
hanging out, eating tacos with me. Before we leave, I do want to say Carcon Carne is on the socials, Facebook, Carcon Carne, Twitter and Instagram. And this would be the social media message of the week. It's a simple one. It's brought to you by Boost Mobile. This is from Karen talking about the episode I did with Jeff Shapiro from Real Urban Barbecue. She wrote, "I love this chain. Super awesome food." We did a tour with Jeff of Real Urban Barbecue, and he told us all about the restaurant industry and the art of barbecue making. it is a seriously great chain. Mostly North Suburban, also in Oak Brook. Really cool stuff. All right, Rory, Concetta, you rock. Thank you.
Thank you, James, for having us. We really appreciate
so
it.
much.